This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malware Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, and it actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, rootkits, bots, and a whole lot more. And you can use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. So, Google again. Let's talk Google again. Privacy has been a big topic for us for the last couple of years, partially because for a while it wasn't a big topic in the general culture. And so, we kind of wanted to bring that back. A number of high-profile hacks, all of the stuff happening over at Facebook, worries about, Google tracking cookies. They have all brought privacy and security back into the forefront. And out of that has come things like the Brave browser, which we've talked about on the show before in the past. The Brave browser is this high privacy-focused product, but their default search engine in most of the world was Google. And a lot of people who are looking for privacy aren't fans of Google as a company, and Google search in particular. So a lot of people were switching over to something like DuckDuckGo, which we did a Pilch Point on a couple years ago. Well, the company has actually got their own search provider now, and in the latest release of their browser, 1.31 for desktop and Android and 1.32 for iOS, the default search engine has been changed in most of the world to Brave's search, which obviously makes sense if you're putting this all together. It makes sense to default it. Of course, if you want to switch to something else, DuckDuckGo or Google or Bing or whatever you want to switch to, you can still change your search engine just like you can in Edge or Google or Safari or whatever. With this comes what they call the Web Discovery Project. I've started a bit of a dive into it because I'm really interested in what they're up to here. It's a tool to improve the Brave search while still maintaining user anonymity. It's completely opt-in, and it's designed, obviously, to protect privacy because that's what the company's all about. The contributed data isn't like reverse engineerable to a person or a device. It can't be connected together to create a profile about a user. Obviously, this is coming at a time when big tech is kind of a bad word. You hear all political affiliations talking about big tech, and very few of them speak of it highly. So this is an interesting and kind of a smart time for this to come out. I'm really interested in the Web Discovery Project. I'm not far into my dive on how it works. I do know that for something to be included and indexed, it has to be highly visited, which is interesting. But there's a whole submission process that's very different than Google or Bing. It's interesting, but Avram, what do you think?
So I'm looking at the Brave search, and I'm trying to see how Tom's Hardware comes up on some of the search terms that we target.
Sure.
And our rankings seem pretty consistent with what they are on Google.
Okay.
So I'm kind of curious how where the rankings come from, where they get this information.
Yeah.
How they're spidering.
Yeah. So it has a lot to do with, and that's what that Web Discovery Project is all about. I don't have as much information on it as I would like. It's a very complicated system that I'm trying to understand.
I can tell you this: we haven't optimized for it. We haven't optimized for the Web Discovery Project. I don't think anyone in our company has submitted anything to it. Perhaps we should have.
Part of it comes part of it comes from people who are using the browser. And that's why they were talking about all the anonymity stuff. They are looking at browsing history, but without tracking who it's attached to if you opt in to help improve search. Now, I'll tell you that searching for PLUGHITZ Live, our top result obviously is our homepage. The branding is incorrect, and the title still says CES 2020. So they haven't hit us in a while, because it stopped saying that, like January 11th of 2020. But that's okay. LinkedIn has the updated branding. Our Twitter doesn't. Anyway, it is interesting. And again, we haven't optimized for anything either, because I'm still just trying to understand how it works. I have, however, seen traffic referring in from Brave. So that's interesting.
I mean, I think it would be good if the industry standardized on a Google alternative. I know Microsoft would like it to be Bing, but Bing unfortunately suffers for the same problems that Edge and IE have suffered from, which is being tragically uncool, even when it does provide a decent service. So I don't know. Maybe the answer is DuckDuckGo. Brave trying to start its own engine. I don't know. I think if you were to have something that people would take seriously, it couldn't be just tied to a product like that. So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I think I think there's absolutely a market for an alternative, for a Google alternative. That's for sure.
Absolutely. There is definitely a market for it. Everybody has seemingly tried, and nobody seems to be able to chisel away. Microsoft had gotten up to like the 13% mark at one point, but I think they're back down to about the 4.5% mark today. They had, when they were the default search on iPhone, I think is when they managed to get themselves up there pretty high. But that hasn't been for a couple of years. And as soon as that went away, they plummeted again.
Being the default search definitely helps you a lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my mother, like every 2 weeks, she has some type of antivirus on her computer. I think it's McAfee, that is constantly changing her default search to Yahoo. I go and I change it back, and it changes it back to Yahoo again.
Yeah.
So it's so yes, being the default really helps you.
Yeah, especially on something like the iPhone.
Yeah.
So let's see. Your personal results start at LinkedIn, and then your profile on Tom's Hardware. That's good. Your Twitter, your Muck Rack, your Facebook, and then your profile from Laptop Mag. So they do recognize that Tom's
That's
Hardware
pretty good.
right now is
Yeah,
a higher, more important rank.
That's good. That's good. I'm pleased with those results.
So after Laptop Mag comes Business Insider, and then the Wikipedia page for Tom's Hardware.
That's pretty good. All right. Well, there you go.
Everything
you need to know about me, you can get by searching. You get. Yeah, I think it says so somewhere on there. Anyway, yes, one of my few places where I'm famous. I have I don't have a page on Wikipedia. I'm just mentioned on somebody's page. I'm mentioned on Tom's Hardware's page.
But anyway, it's interesting. I'm definitely going to play around with it. I've been talking to our marketing guys. Last week, one of our conversations was the changes to Google mobile search. this week, one of our conversations is going to be what we know about Brave, which is one of the reasons I'm doing a lot of research. It's really interesting. It's quick, which I like. So, I don't know. I'm going to experiment with it. I did a deep dive into DuckDuckGo a while back. Obviously, I've done a deep dive into Bing and Google. So, I'm always interested in knowing how the data collection for these things works. And I will continue on this one. I don't know when I will understand it. Hopefully soon. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.